Hello YouTube, it's Marie, and today I'm going to be talking about sleep insomnia and how I personally have learned how to deal with it. I have dealt with sleep insomnia for a lot of my life, mostly throughout my teenage years up into my 20s, and it has not been fun. It has definitely put a lot of stress on me, especially with work and studying and stuff, and it just got in the way of life. So I've had quite a long experience with this, so I've learnt how to handle it and what to do and what not to do with it. And this is just my personal experience and what has helped me. And these are all natural remedies. I don't really like to use medication or any of that. I do not like to take any sleeping pills or anything. I've never tried that. I just like to try to focus on dealing with sleep insomnia in natural ways. So this is what this video is going to be focusing on. So here are my 12 tips on how to battle it a natural way and how to just prevent it. Tip number 1, have a schedule. I usually find that I have worse sleep insomnia when I've changed jobs, or when it's like the holidays, or like I'm on holiday, or it's the weekends and I don't really need to be up at a certain time, and my sleep schedule gets totally messed up and I end up staying up until 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, and then I end up getting up late the next day, and then I need work the day after that, and I always just get a real up in the air sleep schedule. That's when I struggle the most with sleep. So my recommendation is get a sleep schedule even on weekends. So say you need to be up at 6 AM for work, try and get up at about 7 or 8 on the weekends as well, just to keep that sleep schedule steady, and try to go to bed at good times as well and get your 8 hours in, because I found that sleep deprivation is just as bad for sleep insomnia as lots of sleep. I often find that when I have no sleep one night, I really struggle to get to sleep the next night. I know it's very counterproductive, because you would think that if you had no sleep the night before, you would go to sleep very easily the next day, but that's not always the case. I've always been the kind of person that doesn't need a lot of sleep to get by, and that's probably because I've always struggled with sleep as it is. I usually find that if I get around 7 hours sleep a night, that is good, and I try to just keep it at that steady pace. So I try to only get 7 hours sleep on the weekends as well, and I try to keep to a steady schedule. So I'll try and get up at around the same time and go to bed around the same time every night of the week, even on weekends. I find that helps the most. Tip number 2, try and unwind before bed. So I find that if I have a nice steady routine where I will have a bath, just relax, get cozy, read a book or a magazine, just, watch a movie, have a nice relaxing bed routine where I'm not crazy and hectic and stressing about work or anything. I just find that when I unwind before bed and really take the time to relax and get myself into the sleeping mode, it really helps me get to sleep. Tip number 3, mindfulness and meditation. I find that if I do a nice relaxing meditation in bed an hour before sleep, that really helps me get to sleep. If I also practice mindfulness and meditation throughout the day, that definitely relaxes my mind, so that I'm not worrying and stressing and thinking about lots of things before bed. So mindfulness and meditation are 2 great things that can help with sleep insomnia. Number 4, this is a huge one for me. No big meals before bed. In fact, no food at all before bed. I find that eating before bed is really bad for me. I know a lot of people that say they sleep like a baby on a full stomach. I'm the opposite. If I have anything in my stomach before bed, I just cannot sleep. So I think it's probably the food gives me energy and it keeps me up. So I would recommend do not eat much before bed. That brings me on to my 5th tip, no sugary foods before bed either. I find that if I have a chocolate bar, or even if I have lots of fruit before bed, I just cannot sleep. I think the sugar once again gives me a high, and it just makes me so I can't sleep. So once again, no sugary foods before bed. So tip number 6 is regular exercise throughout the day. So I find when I've had a day where I've done yoga, I've done some exercise, I've been to the gym, I've done some stretching, I've been walking around a lot, maybe I've walked or biked instead of taking the bus, I do find that I sleep better the next day. Obviously I try to avoid lots of energetic exercise before bed, because just like with food, exercise gives me an energy boost, so I cannot sleep if I've just done lots of exercise, but I do find that if I've done exercise throughout the day, earlier on in the day, it helps me sleep so much better, and I think it's just because I've used up so much more energy. Tip number 7, and this is probably the biggest one for me out of all these tips, water intake, hydration. So I find that if I've drank a lot of water throughout the day, I sleep so much better the night before. I'm not sure what it is. I think when I drink a lot, my head is so much clearer, and it's also so much good for you to stay yourself hydrated anyway. And I just find that when I drank a lot of water, I drank water in the morning, throughout the day, and about a couple of hours before bed, I find that I sleep so much better. My head is clearer, I'm more relaxed, I'm not stressed so much, so water intake. I find that when I have a lot of water, I sleep the best. Tip number 8, try and avoid your phone or technology about an hour or two before bed. Personally, I'm always on my phone even before bed, but I do find that it's good to avoid screens at least an hour before bed, which is why I try and distract myself by doing a meditation or something a bit more relaxing before bed, away from my phone, so that I'm not thinking too much about my phone and I'm not on it and looking at Facebook and stuff. I find that if I put my phone on my boyfriend's bedside table or on the windowsill or something, it's a little bit further away. I can't just grab it and go on Facebook if I'm struggling to sleep. It helps me relax a little more, and it helps me forget about my phone and Facebook and YouTube and all that kind of stuff that I would normally do before bed. Number 9, so if you are struggling with insomnia and you can't sleep, I find that if I just get out of bed, I take a little walk around, I sit in the garden, I take some fresh air in, I just have a little bit of a relax, I do 10 minutes of mindfulness or I read a book. I try to kind of reset the night, pretend that I've never struggled sleeping, pretend that this is the first time I've gone to bed. I try to go back to bed, and usually I find it much easier to sleep. If I'm just laying down thinking about it, I can never get to sleep. So I find that if I get up, refresh, restart the night, then go back to bed, I could do this 2 or 3 times, sometimes even 4 times. I usually find I get to sleep sooner than if I was laying in bed thinking about it, not being able to sleep, and then the hours just tick by. Number 10, don't look at the clock. So obviously it helps if you do like I have my phone on a different bedside table or on the windowsill so that I can't keep looking at it. If I just keep looking at the clock and I see the hours continually going by, it stresses me out because I'm thinking about how soon it is before I have to get up. I'm thinking it's a waste of time going to bed in the first place, and it just stresses me out. So I find I just pretend time isn't a thing. I pretend that I've only been there 10 minutes, and usually it stops me stressing out and helps me sleep a bit sooner. Number 11, so I personally find that if I'm really hot, I cannot sleep, so I don't have the heating on. I try and wear really, really thin cotton breathable pyjamas or shorts and just a t-shirt or something. I try to have just a blanket like this rather than a big duvet. I find that if I'm really hot and stuffy, I can't sleep, so I like to be more cooler, more colder than warm. I find that is better for me personally, but I think some people like to be warm and cozy. But for me, I find that if I'm too hot, I just cannot sleep. Tip number 12 is obviously try to avoid caffeine before bed. I'm not a coffee drinker. I've never drank coffee in my life. Maybe a couple of times, but it's not something I drink at all, ever really. I have a lot of tea, so I try to avoid drinks of tea before bed. I try to have things like hot chocolate, herbal teas, green teas, or a nice chamomile tea or a mint tea, something a bit more relaxing. It's good to have some essential oils burning as well before sleep, just to help you get into that sleeping routine and feeling tired. And tip number 13 is a little more medicine-like. I find that if I'm really struggling, if I say have an exam the next day and I really want to get some sleep, some Valerian, some hops, they're like a very, very natural alternative herbal remedy, and they can also help with sleep. I've only taken these like once or twice when I was really, really struggling to sleep. I don't like to take anything really for sleep. I like to just relax and get myself into it naturally. They're quite good as well if you want something a bit more natural as a herbal kind of alternative medicine to use. So I hope that was helpful. I had absolutely no sleep last night, which is why I thought I'd make this video to not only remind myself of these tips, because I did not follow them last night. So I just thought I would make this video to not only remind myself of these tips, but also to help out anybody else who, like me, struggles from sleep insomnia and has for a long time and doesn't really want to take sleeping pills or antidepressants or anything else, just wants to kind of deal with it naturally and in their own way. So I hope this video helped you. If you are struggling with sleep insomnia as well and you have any other tips or advice, please leave a comment and let me know. I would love to hear what they are. So I will end this video here, and I will see you next time. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe. I make new videos every Wednesday and Friday. Thank you. Bye!